Hey everyone and welcome back. Today I'm really excited because I finally have a long form video to show you how you can make your own inline spinners at home for way cheaper than the big brand versions. All the materials that I'm using in today's video are coming from my own DIY inline spinner packs, which are available on my website. I'll have a link somewhere down below. But even if you're using your own materials or you're just curious to learn a little bit more about inline spinner making, I think this video is going to have a lot for you. Hey guys, before we get into things, I want to take just a moment to talk about a few safety things. Now, the obvious concern in my packs is these hooks, which are super sharp. Be careful. But something you might not realize is these wires can be just as bad. And I've actually stabbed myself and cut myself more with the wires than I have with the hooks. Another thing to be careful about is that these tag ends, once clipped, have a tendency to fly far and fast. That literally just hit the wall and then hit me in the head, guys. So make sure you're wearing some sort of eye protection. All right, now that we have that out of the way, let me show you what actually comes in each one of my packs. Each of these packs comes with 10 wires, 9 lure bodies. We have 10 blades, which is a mix of French blades and inline blades. There's 9 hooks, a mix between single hooks and treble hooks. Also, all of my packs include a hook bonnet. This is partially because it makes it a lot easier to transport your hooks, but also when you're assembling your lures, you can put the hook bonnets on your treble hooks, and that's going to prevent you from getting poked in the finger while assembling your lures. So a little bit of a safety thing included in there. And one note that I'm going to make though, if you get any of the hooks that have the plastic dressing on them, you're going to notice they're not really going to be able to sit in there without taking off that. But if you do want to use this plastic dress treble hook, just remember the hook bonnet's not going to be able to protect your fingers, so be extra careful. And these packs include 11 beads, 3 body toppers, and 7 clevises. And something you may have noticed is there's a disproportionate amount of beads, clevises, blades, and wires compared to the amount of lure bodies I've included. And that isn't by accident. I include these extra pieces like these wires for 2 reasons. The first being, you might make a mistake. Sometimes you clip something too short or you bend something the wrong direction and it just doesn't work, and I don't want you to lose out on any of your lure bodies because you messed up on one wire. And although I am going to show you specific lure designs, I do include these extra pieces to also give you a chance to customize your lures. You can add extra beads, an extra clevis, an extra blade to any of the lures you want, and I don't want you to feel limited by the packs or this video in what you can create. I just want to give you a starting point. Now, in order to create these lures, there are a few tools that you are going to need. The first one being your standard pair of pliers. Now, realistically, you could complete the entire lures with something like this or with needle nose pliers. However, I do find if you add yourself some round nose pliers, it makes your life so much easier. And actually, the round nose pliers are really going to help you make it look a lot more professional. So if you don't have a pair, just go pick up a cheap pair at your local craft store. This was something like $6 or $7. And the last thing that I like to use is a wire cutter. Now, a lot of pliers are going to have some sort of wire cutter in them that would work just fine for this. However, I do find these are a lot easier when you need to get in those kind of hard to reach areas, like right underneath here, or maybe right here to cut off your tag ends. Having that extra length is a little bit easier than trying to get in there with the back of these pliers, which can be a little tricky, but it's definitely doable. So don't limit yourself. If you don't have all 3 of these, you can definitely make the lures. Let's start with this first lure design, and this one's really easy. It's just a body, a bead, a blade, a hook, and a wire. Now, although you could totally make this with one of the single hooks, I am going to use the treble hook just because it's a perfect time to show you how the hook bonnets that I include can keep your hands safe while assembling lures. So the first step you're going to want to do is put your hook on your wire just like that. Go ahead and put your lure body on first, and then just go ahead and pinch that wire through and push it down as far as you can. And you'll have something like this. Now, something I do actually want to point out while we're here, I hand bend every single wire that comes in my DIY lure making kits. This is a pretty standard size for one of the wires you might get from a retailer or from maybe another pack. And this is a lot of times with the tag end that they leave you with. Now, you might notice that even when you're using the smallest lure bodies, this thing is just barely bigger than that lure body, which makes it kind of hard to secure. And I'll show you in this next step why having this longer tag end here is really helpful. With this longer tag end, you don't have to struggle as much to bend it. There's 2 ways of doing this. This is a nice easy way. You can grab your pliers and just kind of slide it down and start getting this bent. And you could easily just take your pliers and bend it all the way down. But especially because we have the hook bonnet on, I like to just take my thumb and just bend it. And just go ahead and push it down to the lure body so it's like that. And there you go. Now this little curve here is everything that's going to secure this whole lure. So we are going to cut off this tag end, but we want to be sure that we don't cut it too close. If we do cut it too close, this whole thing's going to pop out. So again, make sure you have a little bit of overlap here because this is what's holding the entire lure together. So I wouldn't clip it right on the edge. You see that? I wouldn't clip it there. That's going to ruin everything. I would go ahead and find any spot past this curve here. I'll just say right here. Like I said, these wires will shoot off and get anywhere. So one of the solutions I like to do that, just take a paper towel or a dishcloth or something and go ahead and cut it into the cloth. And that way you have your little tag end that you can dispose of without worrying about where it went. Just something to try out. Go ahead and take your bead, put it on the wire, and grab your blade and attach it there. This is pretty much the entire lure right here. And you are almost done with your lure right there. The only thing we need to do is we need to tie it off so we have a little eyelet right here to attach to our main line. Now what I'm going to show you here is actually the most important step in the entire video. How you assemble the lures is totally up to you, but I really want to make sure people understand this step because this is how you're going to make any inline spinner essentially. When we're creating the eyelets on this one, we want to make sure that we don't go too close to the blade. If I were to tie it off right here, something you'll notice is when this blade tries to spin, it starts hitting this up here, and it's going to kind of affect its action in the water. So what I like to do is just give it just a little bit of room. Just go just above that blade. One way of doing that, hold that blade against your body and put your wire anywhere above that blade. I'm going to say here. What I'm going to do is you have your wire like this, take it and bend it straight down at a 90-degree angle. So you end up with this L shape here. Again, that was bent down straight over the top of the pliers, giving you this L shape right here, which doesn't exactly have to be perfect. Where we had the pliers were here before, we're going to switch them to here now. Not here, but here. And then depending on how far back you move here, that's going to determine how big your eyelet is. It's only going to be determined by this top one. So if you want a really big one, scoot it down here. If you want a really small eyelet, scoot it down here. I like to be somewhere towards the front because I like a smaller eyelet. So what you're going to want to do is holding it like this, you're going to want to bend it straight back this way. Back this way. So holding it, hold everything tight. The tighter you make this now, the easier it's going to be later. I'm literally just taking this wire and I'm bending it over the top there, and pinching it down. So when I remove it, I have something like this shape right here. Now we want to bend this a little bit more to make a perfect eyelet. I'm going to grab basically right across from here, right across from the other side of the eyelet. And I'm actually going to squeeze my thumb in here. You definitely do not have to do this step. I find it just makes the eyelets a little bit more round. So stick my thumb in there. I'm going to grab this really tightly and I'm going to start bending this down. Now what that did is it gave me this shape, which might look kind of familiar, right? Like I was showing you on the other ones. We've made that shape. This is the start to everything we need to do. Now what I'm going to do on this last step, grab your eyelet like that, and you're going to take this wire and you just want to make a straight line with this wire, straight across, right? So if we're holding it like this, I want this wire to just go straight across here. So just go ahead and grab it in as tightly as you can. All right. Went ahead and brought it across, and look at that. You got your start to an eyelet. All you need to do is wrap this around this wire body twice. Do it twice. Once is probably fine. I just do it twice. So we go one twist around the whole thing and two twists. Okay. And there you go. You've got that super round eyelet there, twisted together, and you've pretty much got your entire lure. Now, again, find that spot you want to cut. This is why I like these. Get it as close as possible. And then we're going to go ahead and cut that off. We can go ahead and take the hook bonnet off. And there we go. Let me show you two more, and I'll do those steps again, just in case you missed anything. Now, the next lure that we're going to make is a little more complicated, but it's the exact same idea as what we just did. So we've got our wire, our body, a bead, a body topper, a clevis, a blade, and a hook. And this one comes with one of the plastic dressed hooks. Again, you can always take this off if you'd prefer, or use a single hook. I just personally like using these orange ones with these orange bodies. But like last time, what we're going to do, put the hook on first. Take your body and pinch the wire through and pinch this as far down as it will go. You can always use a table or whatever flat surface you have with you to push it down a little further if it feels a little stuck. But this looks familiar, doesn't it? Now for this one, I am going to actually just use the pliers, to bend this all the way down. One technique that you can do, and just be gentle when you do this, is you can put the bottom of your pliers here, right at the eyelet, and you can put the top of them right on top of this wire. Now bend really, really gently. This really does not take a lot of force. You could potentially also accidentally bend the eyelet. And again, you could totally just bend this down with your hand as well. Just be really careful and watch out for these hooks here. And again, we don't want to cut anywhere before this curve, because if we do that, it'll just slide right out. So let's go just after this curve. We grab our paper towel. All right, then you've got the basic start there. Now go ahead and take your bead and put it on top of there, and take your body topper and put that on top of the bead. I would start by taking your clevis and actually putting your blade on the clevis first. I think this is just a little easier. And go ahead and just attach that there. Now the clevis is nice because it gives a little bit more spin to your lure, so you don't have to worry quite as much about your blade getting stuck up here. But you don't want it taut, because if it's too tight, then it will prevent the clevis from, you see that it can't really spin, it's really hard to move. So what I like to do is bring it all the way down and then just raise it up. I don't know, maybe 1/8 of an inch or so. Does not need all that much room, because you're also going to be including this space here. So again, just go ahead, bend flat. You've got your L shape there on that side of it, remember? That side, the inside there. And I'll get, hopefully this angle might be even clearer than the last one. You're just bending up and over until you get that. Then again, I take this and I just start bending it just a little bit back towards me. So we have more of this shape. Then with this shape, we want to get that wire straight across. So hold everything nice and tight. And look at that really round little eyelet we've got there. And then we do one, especially when your hooks are uncovered. If you're using the single hooks or the dress treble hooks, just take it slow, slow. Okay, you've got 2 wraps there. And there you go. You have your second inline spinning lure. Awesome. All right, just one more for you guys, and that's going to be everything for today. Alrighty, and here's the last design I'm going to show you. This is the largest version of the lure that I sell. It's about 1/4 ounce when assembled. That includes one of the wires, a single hook, a body, a French blade, a bead, and a clevis. And because I didn't mention this earlier, if you don't really want to assemble these on your own and you're just looking for a cheaper alternative to awesome inline spinners, I have all of these designs pre-made on my website ready to order now as well. Now this one's a little different because we're actually going to go in the reverse order of the last 2. Go ahead and put your blade on your clevis and put your blade and clevis up there. So this will be your eyelet that goes to your leader. So we're just doing it in reverse order. Go ahead and take your bead. Put your bead on there, take your body, put the body on, but now we actually just need to create the place for the hook to go, which is going to be the exact same way we make the eyelets. So same idea. You want to make sure you're giving your lure a little bit of wiggle room up here. So go ahead and put it taut here, and then give yourself as much space as you like. I'm just going to give myself about that much. Then again, we go ahead and bend the wire straight down. So we have this L shape here, and bend right over the top. Keeping everything nice and tight. And you have that. Now I'm actually on this one, I'm going to show you what happens if you don't do this thumb thing that I showed you, just because I want you to show you that it's really not necessary to doing it. It's just a technique that I like to use. Instead, you could just kind of bend this more towards you. You'll notice it's going to be a bit more flat on this edge. And then go ahead and put your hook on. And we're going to finish the eyelet with the hook on. Be really careful because there's nothing protecting you from the hook. I will say the single hooks are a little nicer because you can just kind of position them behind your wires like this. Go ahead and take this and bend it straight across, keeping that point of that single hook away from you. Now, what you'll notice here is that it's not quite as round. It sort of flattens off the bottom or flattens off one of the edges. However, you can see the hook flows just fine. So you can go ahead and just bend this around your wire body twice, remembering to try to keep that single hook as far away from your little fingers as possible. Okay, and then there you go. You got your two wraps there. And there you go. You got your final inline spinning lure. If we compare the two, you can tell there's really hardly any difference at all. The only difference I really notice is it's slightly more flat there. But again, just to show you that you really don't need to use that technique I was showing you with your thumb if you don't feel comfortable doing it. I just like how it makes a slightly more round eyelet. Alrighty, now that's just 3 lures. Again, you don't have to assemble them exactly like this. The biggest thing I wanted to show you is how to secure everything and different ways of assembling a few different types of lures. Now, if you want to try your hand at assembling some of these lures on your own, you can check out my DIY inline spinner packs on my website right now. And you can also get these lures pre-assembled for way cheaper than the big brand versions. Otherwise, I hope you learned something today. Consider checking out the site and subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate it. Take care, guys.